blocking and Bruce, but this time around EVOS letting go of the Gragas, prioritizing Tipper on this Darius and as well as the Orianna. This is looking to be such an amazing draft for Flash Wolves, and remember there's still that big option for Cookie to play Jarvan 4, put a Sarah on the Camille as well. So this is, as again, Jarvan 4, one of the soft counters to the Olaf. Once Ragnarok is pressed, you just trap them in the Cataclysm, letting them either burn a flash, and then they will be very vulnerable.
I'm really liking the Braum pickup right here as compared to Khan. You can still go into safe distance out here, and if the Camille chooses to commit, that's where you really want to drop in that Glacial Fissure. But that explosive cast might just be the one that will be able to really chunk out the rest of EVOS Esports if they ever get displays. And look at what we have. Final pick for the Akali. Heading into the battle once more as a secret recipe has been shown here by Sarah, being one of the most menacing Akali that we've ever seen. And he got a Quadra last round. Could have actually gotten the Penta. We had this discussion going on today. Were close calls for many of these potential Penta kills.
Yeah, and we got one. We could have potentially gotten 3 out of 3 pentakills, but it's all right. There's still a lot of matches going on throughout the weekend.
Yeah, that will go to SBTC Kirill, of course, for our first and only pentacle so far here in the playoffs. We're gonna see, though. Maybe Sarah wants to step it up, and he's like, no, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it right here. But EVOS Esports, again, this is the king of Southeast Asia, the current king of Southeast Asia. Right now, they are in jeopardy. We're gonna see if they can pull through for game number 2. Otherwise, it's over to Flash Wolves to continue their journey. Casters, over to you guys.
Certainly are in jeopardy here, Mika, as they do find themselves in this lower bracket. Unfamiliar territory, the reigning champions fighting for their tournament life here, Omo, and they need a huge win into a powerhouse of a competition and a composition that Flash Wolves have.
It's gonna need a miracle indeed, I feel, for the side of EVOS. Flash Wolves, I feel like their draft answers everything that EVOS want to do so very well from top to bottom. If you look at this Akali matchup, we saw it into the Renekton in the last game. What's the other matchup that Akali really wants to play into? It's Darius. And Ysera, I was very critical of his Akali earlier on in the tournament, but something has clicked for him, and he's playing it so much better here today. If he keeps that performance up into this Darius played by Tipper, I feel like he might have another powerhouse performance going up against Kai'Sa, Orianna, so short range. He's gonna have a good time.
Maybe not much of a good time at the moment, as he has just copped a fair few autos from a Darius literally just walking at him, so jumps into the Shroud and says, have a few back, and both walk away down to 50%. But, you know, the evolution of Flash Wolves has been kind of fascinating, right? The subbing in and out of Locking and Demon. Demon hasn't come in here, so they have shown the faith to Locking that, you know, you have stolen a pentakill. That's okay. Ysera's just going to run it back and try again in game 2. Are you going to try and get another first blood once more? That's a 2v2 in the mid lane. A flash and a dash and a hope and a prayer that that ignites not enough, which it isn't. Cookie can run away, and also G4 can run away. So fragile, blinking health bars.
So aggressive from both of these teams. Cookie dashes into 2, and immediately G4 tries to trade back, but no one is willing to back down from these fights, and it will just be Flash's burn on both sides, but EVOS still losing out in that one. I do want to point out really quickly, G4, he took the heal. He's playing Orianna with heal. It's signaling that he wants to play completely here for his jungler, for Veldus to pop off, and I love this. Bruce walks bot side, hovers out of vision, and goes for the recall. EVOS now, they have to be so very careful because they don't know where Bruce is. He could be waiting for you at the red buff bush. You wouldn't know. You just have to play safe. You just have to give the wave, and Flash Wolves full control right now.
Yeah, no vision. As you can see, that river right now is completely lit up, just in favor here for Flash Wolves. He has gone for the reset, and now there is the grand reveal, so EVOS looking to be a little bit more aggressive now. Stepping up to this wave, not looking to get as denied as they once were, but they are copping such a big beating from double-ranged poke. And G4 rocks back to mid lane and says, I don't really fancy this one, Chief. Lucian, kind of hurts.
It really does, and this has been a traditional counter pick to the Orianna matchup for so many years now. It's not surprised to see Bruce pull this one out. Ysera, I think he's going to fight here.
Yes, has flash in a barrier and can just do that, just to rub salt in the wounds and say, nice gank, and, you know, everything fizzles out. It's quite interesting, though, to sort of see, you know, the composition that Flash Wolves have, right? We were discussing it briefly as it was happening, that they have the, you know, the Camille once again to dive those turrets. They've got themselves the Ziggs and the Lucian now for that phenomenal siege. and we saw how they were able to control the map from the very get-go last time. Very curious to see with the Dragon and the Herald only about 50 seconds away if we are going to see that trading of objectives once more.
Yeah, I want to see what these teams are going for here. I feel like both of them should be prioritizing Herald given the team comps that they have, but it seems like from what we've seen so far this tournament, especially in playoffs, teams are starting to prioritize the Dragon 5v5s a lot more, and if we do see a skirmish around that happen, I would say that it could be advantageous for EVOS, given that the Olaf pick especially is going to be so very strong at the 4-minute fight timing, and Camille needs a bit more time to scale up. Veldus, by the way, has not recalled a single time yet. So when he goes home, he's going to have power farmed for the last 4 minutes on this Olaf, and I think he's going to have a pretty big buy available.
Well, I do see he's got the Gargoyle Stone play already complete there.
That's
so,
true, I didn't miss that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got your back, bro. That's all right.
Me,
things happen. It's late in the night. The players are feeling it. We're feeling it. Everyone at home is feeling it. But he's going to be feeling himself because this is a draft built to make him succeed. Yep. You talked about it before. The heal summoner for Orianna. The fact they first pick it. And the fact that Fipper flashes forward and has the burn barrier flash and say, why did I do that all on my own? I just needed to wait for my jungle.
He really did. I think he went a bit too aggressive there, and he really nearly dropped at the end of it. Look at what's happening across the map right now. Because they overcommit there to try to get Tipper a reset timing, it cost them the Dragon, and it might cost them Herald as well.
Yeah, you can see the face check there as Valdez says peekaboo and allows Bruce to walk straight into him. Not going to be scared of the dark, though, and doesn't burn any sums just yet. As that Herald will be leashed and the culling will be used. Mid lane in a bit of a neutral spot, but a flash being burnt, so Fipper can't run him down, but it can go straight onto this Herald. Question now is, does Flash Force contest? Because we see them resetting, and we see Ziggs doing a beautiful play bot side and just sieging with a satchel charge.
Yeah, and they're always going to be so much faster on the play. They've taken the turret already, and Herald has just dropped for EVOS. And you know what this means, Skimmy? They're going to need to use the Herald here to break the turret. There we go. They're not even able to break it at all, not willing to commit the Herald, and that means that Flash Wolves, they are just going to be pulling ahead and go here. Locking picks up the Ludens, and that means that Waves are just going to get one-shotted by him. EVOS, the timer is ticking. They're running low on options.
It's just beautiful discipline, more so than anything, really, isn't it? The fact that they identified, look, we don't really need to make this play. We could, but it's not paramount. We don't need to flip their game. We've got control. We can answer to top side if they do go for the Herald, which they did. We can just sneak in the first turret of the game and be quite comfortable with a 2K lead to talk about. So Flash Wolves almost feels like they're just continuing where they left off in game one.
Pretty much exactly. They've been riding this tempo for a while now. They did pretty well against MBR yesterday, of course dropping the second game in the best of 3. But I would say that overall in the series, especially in the final game, Flash Wolves looked good. They're keeping that momentum up today. They're rolling over EVOS, and I have to say, I feel like EVOS has really genuinely run out of steam. From what we saw in the BRU series, they had one really good game, but in general, they were a little bit slow. But when you got to the mid game, when you got to the team fights, EVOS would always pop off like you expected from them. We didn't see that last game, and from how this game's looking, I gotta say my hopes are not high.
It's a hard one to call. We have seen such different performances from them today where they crash the early game and get 15k gold leads, if they fall behind and stay even and sort of bank all their bets on an Elder Baron flip. Now, they're hard forcing this one. We're critical because there's 2 people to respond to it. 4 members commit to Siege. Ysera gets free farm bot again. They're going to dive mid as well. Double summoners popped here by G4. He's falling down to half as the observers let us know that he won't die. But they're going to summon a Herald and that's it.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I mean when I say that EVOS don't look in sync. When your team is committing 4 members and Herald to top lane to make a play there, G4, you have to respect. You have to back off, hug your turret, make sure that Camille doesn't jump on you. You don't see where she is. It's so very dangerous. And EVOS, everyone's just doing their own thing. They're in their own world. They're not making plays at the same time. I don't know what's happening to this team, but it does not look good for them.
Harsh reality really of it all is that they are the reigning champions from the Summer Super Cup, that they come in as the first seed from Thailand. They dropped to their competitors in the region of Buriram United earlier tonight.
Boy, what's this?
And now they might be falling down in the individual 1v1. You say it doesn't happen. Obviously, that is called Cast a Curse. But we're back to top sides, and it is going to be a 3v3 as Flash Wolves just pop their head and say cheers for the turret plating and walk away.
And this is exactly what we saw from Flash Wolf's last game as well. They were relatively disciplined. They made one mistake at the bot lane tier 2 turret, but other than that, they were content with just doing some damage, poking your turret a little bit, getting control of the map, and just playing both sides at once. This is exactly what they're doing here again today. Flash Wolves, Bruce, and Cookie, you always see them working in tandem, and I think that's when they look their best. When Cookie doesn't try to tunnel onto helping Ysera's lane, when he plays for Bruce, let Ysera do his own thing. They're doing that here today, and they look good.
And lane assignments look phenomenal, right? You're planting your Ziggs in the mid lane. Very hard to siege into one. A minefield goes down. Good luck actually pushing. The lane has been evaporated. One single component will do a fair bit of damage, and it makes it very hard to then look to get into that pit, especially for the Dragon, first and foremost. Hence why we see what we like to call an NA ARAM.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of an NARM, especially from EVOS, and Tipper has been the victim here. We're gonna need to hold that thought though, because Valdez looks like he wants it.
He's certainly keen, does have the Ragnarok, has the flash, and a chilling smite as well. Now, the Dragon has been leashed, the second one of the game. It's going to just go back to its home and say, all right, guys, hang out with me when you got a spare moment, because we're still bullying for control.
And look at this, because Flash Wolves have control, because they have picks like Ziggs, Lucian, they can clear waves effectively, they can side lane well. They're always going to be able to touch the side lanes, kill the minions, and get to set up first. Here we go.
Certainly do go.
Nice
Jumping in nice and early. G4 goes golden. Out he comes. There's the Glacial Fissure. Knocks them up. Shockwave hits only one. It's on to Bruce. Down to 50%. He came in range. Not enough. Valdez! What on earth is that? Flashing forward. 1v5. He saw a solo queue promo game and says, I have to win this on my own. His team says question mark ping. And they're going to lose the second Drake.
I don't know why EVOS are trying to contest this. There's no world in which you win this. Look at the minefield. They're completely zoned away. They need to recognize that we need to just back off. And you know what the true crime is here, Skimmy? Look at the state of the lanes here for EVOS. Look at what Tipper is going to have to deal with. Ysera shoved in the Baron Wave, it crashed into the turret, it did damage, and now it's bouncing out. And that means that for the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, Tipper has not gotten to farm a single minion wave, and he's gonna be dropping further and further behind. He's gonna lose the top lane wave because it's pushing out. He has nowhere to go. Look at the map. G4 80 bot wave. Where does Tipper farm?
You can imagine the comments right now. Hey guys, just looking for a few crumbs.
Can I have
a spare meal? Food coupons? Anybody? Crumbs? I need some nutrition to try and do something in this game.
Yeah.
Darius, look at our Olaf. He's running it down. Please, I need to dunk someone and dunk ourselves into a game 3, but it's not looking like that. And 10 minutes in, we've only had one kill. Crazy to think.
It's not really what you would expect from an EVOS game. Flash Wolves, yeah, they do tend to play a bit slower. They are contemplating the tempo of the game. But EVOS, they like to find these plays early. And being unable to do so just means that it's going to look really hard for them in the mid game. And they're going to really need to rely on these coin flip team fights like we talked about. The good news for them is that they're really good at these coin flip team fights like we saw against BRU earlier today. But it really sucks when you're put in that situation.
I don't think we want to say it's their comfort zone, because I don't think anybody's really comfortable in those kind of positions, but they certainly find themselves in those more often than not. A Hextech Ultimatum, an explosive cask, and a flash away, and you're still dead anyway. It does not really matter. Ragnarok is there, and he actually sneaks away a kill.
What's going on?
But not before Bruce gets a double kill, because he is popping off right now. He's disengaged away. He's left himself to the top side. Ysera's just following him like a ward in the night, saying, where are you going? Because I'll 1v2 you all day long. And a few more kills and the first real bit of action in this game.
Yeah, the first real bit of action, and Flash Wolves, I think they went a little bit too ham there. Ended up losing one more member than EVOS because they overdived and Ysera wasn't available. Props to EVOS, they rotated as soon as they could, as fast as they can, and that really helped. Flash rated.
G-Force is dead. He can't do anything. He's got no mana. He's burnt double Psalms. He just gets run down. The crits, the double tap, the passive Lucian. What is this champion?
Yeah, I think Bruce, he crit basically 50% of his shots right there, and that's exactly what he needed to take down G4. Trading flashes as well, proving that I am the better mid laner. I have the counter pick. I'm 2,000 gold up. I'm going to carry this game like I did last game. Bruce, a tremendous performance coming out of him, like we expected. He's been the solid one. He's been the one who's always performing for Flash Wolves, and he's doing it yet again here today.
He has been the big focus. That has been our storyline for such a long time across the last 2 to 3 weeks of competition, with him on his own at the best times, really saying, I will win this game on my own terms. Doesn't really matter what the rest of my team are doing. They could be running it down. They could be having, a cup of tea with the Queen. It doesn't really matter, because I'm going to win this game. I'm going to bring us into playoffs. And he's really looking to try and stamp his authority and say, we're going to the next round of the lower bracket.
Yeah, and if they do win this game, you got to keep in mind they're knocking out the Summer Cup champions. They're knocking out the champions of Thailand. EVOS, such an illustrious team, such a stacked roster. Are they really going to fall here in the lower bracket? What is this, quarterfinals? Not even semis. Yeah, there we go. Lower bracket quarterfinals. It's really unthinkable for a team like EVOS to drop out this early. But at the hands of Flash Wolves, I believe it might happen.
I mean, after tonight, Omo, we will have ourselves a top 4 remaining. Right. So, I mean, to sort of the fall from grace from finishing first to taking down some big, heavy hitters earlier in the year to then falling out potentially in a top 6 feels, yeah, pretty hard to swallow.
Indeed, and I feel like we're seeing a bit of an opposite trajectory here for Flash Wolves than what we saw for Divine, who started out so strong, barring their first game loss to Boom, and they've been rolling, they come into playoffs, and they fall flat. Now Flash Wolves, they're going to start a team fight.
Certainly are. A bit of a mixed team fight here as they fight in the mid lane and also fight in the river. And Valor seems to be the focus. Okay. A dash across the wall. Oh, clutch exhaust. Bruce can't secure with that final auto. Already in motion. They flash on forward. And the perfect execution gets a double as easy as they like.
Baron.
He said, mid lane is my focus. I play as a top laner, but mid lane is where I get killing sprees.
It really is. And Ysera, he's been so on point with the team fights. He always consistently finds these angles to get into. And when he finds the angles, he's so good at setting up the perfect execution. He's been executing the entire backline of EVOS for 2 games now. And this Akali, which we criticized earlier on, he's really finding his groove here on it. That's going to be Baron for Flash Wolves. That's going to be Dragon started out for Flash Wolves. 7,000 gold lead. They are looking to knock out EVOS, Gimme.
So it looks like a few days rest for this team, for this roster has been kind to them. They've been able to rest, review, and recover from some shaky performances at the best of time, but when it mattered, when they need to hit playoff performance, the playoff buff is there. Forget the play-ins buff. Now they're going to transcend into the playoff buff and evolve into this beautiful product that is Flash Wolves domination.
It truly is, and when things look good for Flash Wolves, things really look so good for them. This is the Flash Wolves that we expected from play-ins, but we weren't able to see this sort of form. Now suddenly everything is clicking from them, and they're looking like what we expected them to be, what this roster could have been, right? Cookie and Bruce working so well in tandem, Locking doing his own thing, Ysera doing his own thing. When you come to team fights, trust that your veterans know what they're doing. Ysera is so stable in these team fights. Locking is just doing his job. Let Cookie and Bruce excel. Look at them pushing waves together here like a couple of good friends. This is when Flash Wolves look their best.
Yeah, and it's a 3-lane push of a Baron. You cannot extrapolate more value from a play than this. This is the dream, and it's not often you get to play it and abuse it. Yep. But this just gives us a bit of an insight into really where EVOS are at in this game so far. They've been passively losing. They've really lost their momentum to try and answer back and bark back. And, I mean, they're having their base collapsed on 6 turrets to 1, 3 dragons, a Baron. Now they're knocking on the front door.
Yeah, and Skimmy, what happens when you push 3 lanes? You get engaged on. But the problem is EVOS, they have no engage. What are you going to do? Use a Brahms Flash ultimate? Use it all off to run it yet again? That's basically what we've been seeing from their drafts in the last 2 games. At least last game they had a Rakan, but this time around, look at Ysera.
Yeah, Ysera's just a one-man army. He does it all on his own. That turret's going to fall on down. The cannon buff is there. Thank you very much. Falls on down. Triple inhib's gone.
Just like that.
And it won't be a GG screen just yet, but you can pretty much preemptively say that this is going to be a Flash Wolves victory.
And this is a heartbreaker here from EVOS that we have to write their eulogy this early on. Not going to be able to even make it into the top 4 has got to be a disappointing result for this team who were our champions in summer. I cannot emphasize that enough. They were the champions. They beat all these teams the last time around. But something clearly happened between summer and right now. And they just look so out of sync. Even between groups and now, they look out of sync. EVOS ESPORTS, they're going to need to go back to the drawing board. And Flash Wolves, I'm just so happy with their form. It seems like everything has finally clicked for them.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, we can't overstate also to play comparison that they've hit their stride when it matters the most, right? Exactly. Taking down some big names and saying it wasn't a fluke to get out of the play-in stage. It wasn't a fluke to showcase what we could do in the groups and cause upsets there. We've taken out Alliance. Now we're going to look to try and do the same against EVOS. So these teams of experience, is experience overrated? That's a whole other discussion, perhaps a TED Talk that we just do not have time for because we've got a series that is soon to come to a close. EVOS, moments away from falling down in this game because they can't leave the base, they can't turtle, and they can't engage.
Yeah, you can feel the frustration coming out of the EVOS camp right now. This is not where you want to be, and one last team fight to decide it, Skimmy.
Here we go, though. It's going to be all the bells and fireworks, a ring, a conclusion, and a chance to showcase what your tournament has looked like so far. A fight breaks out, but not for much longer, because they ignore you, and they take the Nexus instead.